Hi, I'm Kenji.
And I'm Vic, and welcome to episode 18 of the Drone Service Provider Alliance newscast. We're going to
Yay!
do, yay, yeah, I know, yay. We're getting a little better at this again. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we did in Washington at the AAAC, the Advanced Aviation Advisory Committee,
Yeah.
the formerly known as DAC, which I think we should petition to change it back to DAC because I think it's a cooler name. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the task groups that you and I are on.
Yep.
And you are leading one. That's exciting. Co-leading, right?
Yep.
Co-leading. That's right. Talk a little bit about the Oregon Island National Wildlife Refuge and what they're doing with their GIS issues, or GIS map. Is that what they're dealing with?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
messing around with their maps.
Yeah, messing around with the map. And then here in Denver, we have an issue with a little city called Edgewater, Colorado, which is next door to Lakewood, Colorado, where I live. And which is fun to kind of talk about because one of the things we talked about at the AAAC was 2209, which if you don't know what that is, we'll talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
So we should
That sounds good.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be a fun show. It'll be fairly quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Unusual for us. We're getting better.
Yep.
And we're going to go off on so many tangents anyway. We always do.
You know, we will.
Oh yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with AAAC.
Yeah.
When was it? Where was it?
It was in DC a couple of weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago. It was a little more than a couple weeks ago, and I just lost my place over here in 209. There we go. It was in October, so that was kind of nice. The hotel was a nice hotel. We will not name where it was. Let's just say they like the pipes like to beat on the walls 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh goodness, yeah,
they have issues with their
I barely got any sleep. So
yeah, first night I thought actually that there was somebody with a jackhammer working below my room, and then somebody else was banging on the wall to try and get it to quit. It's just like, what in the world is going on?
But it was close to the airport, which
it was silly close to the airport.
No.
And they had a shuttle, so that was kind of nice. And it was near the Middle Eastern part of Crystal City, so we had some good food, and we had some really good. We had some French, Italian food. Fun little Italian restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah. It's almost worth going to Arlington just for that little restaurant. And for DC, I thought it was pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So,
but getting back to the act, there's 2 task groups announced, right? The first one was a review of the BV loss ARC recommendations and seeing if there's any portions that could be accelerated, and then the other ones was lessons learned about, or actually best practices for engaging with the community.
Drone community engagement lessons learned / best practices, AAAC tasking group number 15. And there's a very, very, really cool person co-leading that. Who is that?
It's Michael from FDNY.
And
myself.
Yourself. Yeah. Yay! So we're really cool about that. I mean, I think that's a really good choice.
Yeah. We have some really, really good folks on it. I mean, Scott Stoffman's on it, which is kind of fun.
We miss Scott.
Yeah, we really do. He's amazing. And then we also have Dave Messina.
Yay. Well, of course. Dave, we have him on our task group. I think Dave should get like a task group hero award or something. I don't know what. We'll figure something out.
I think he's been in a huge number.
Yeah.
But we have Wing, we have Florida Power and Light. Nice. We have ALPA, Dallas PD, CNN, Kansas DOT, AOPA.
Wow.
Aerogen, Boeing, Zipline, Multi GP, University of Alaska, UPS.
Oh, Kathy, good.
And Community Air Mobility. Yeah.
That'll be good.
I have all the troublemakers.
You do. That's okay though. You can keep them. You can keep. Well, maybe you can keep them going on track. Maybe they can keep you going on track. Actually.
But what's really nice having Okoma on there, Morono from Zipline. She's absolutely fantastic. One of the best people I've worked with. I worked with her extensively on the BV loss ARC. But what the work product is going to be very good for us in terms of we'll be able to distribute best practices throughout the industry on how to deal with the public at large and the communities out there as well, and how to message it out to our internal stakeholders too. So, for example, best practices in terms of getting the word out to our pilots and the folks who are in the small and medium-sized commercial ops. So I think it's going to be very valuable because a lot of these bigger companies have extensive experience dealing with the public at large. And the lessons are going to span a lot of different verticals, not just, for example, the infrastructure, the power line inspection, but it'll cover a lot of different things. So we're going to have our second meeting tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Which is great. And then ours is due early next year.
Yeah, March.
So, yeah,
March 2023, it says. Tentatively scheduled. So the recommendations will be presented at the next AAAC meeting.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, how about you? Have things started up with the BV loss?
No, we haven't yet. David Carbon is
Shorty. He's shorter than I am.
Not a whole lot though. I like standing between you two. It's kind of fun. It's like, it looks like a histogram. I just kind of figured that out. We're like a human histogram. a well exposed human histogram.
I'm taller than him.
Okay, I'm a nerd
by a couple inches.
Yeah. I'm a photo nerd.
But he's a good guy.
Yeah, true. He's a good guy. He's a lot of fun. And he's very passionate. So it's really going to be neat doing that. It's task group 14, BV loss arc opportunities is what it's called. And our tasking is to examine the BV loss arc, which you were obviously a big part of. So AAAC to examine BV loss arc recommendations and identify opportunities where industry can assist and accelerate. That is the key word in this tasking, implementation of the BV loss regulatory actions. We also have to have it together, suggestions together by the next meeting in March 2023. So it's going to be fun. I know David's definitely going to be pushing the delivery side of things because he needs to get that stuff up and running. But we're also going to have to, what I'm hoping is kind of to let that whole crawl, walk, run timeline type attitude the DFA has is I think the FPV BV loss is a good place to crawl.
What?
Speaking of which, I checked today, my BV loss FPV waiver is now under review.
Finally.
So fingers crossed on that.
I'm still waiting to hear from the folks over at the FAA on my because they had an RFI. And it was it Chris? And I know it was Derek. Those were the two guys we met out at
in Vegas.
Yeah, in Vegas. I'm still waiting to hear from them. Derek was totally for it. Go ahead and give it to Kenji. So we'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, and obviously, when that happens, we'll push out the information we can as we can. So we'll see how that works. I really hope we both get it because I think it really needs to happen.
Yep.
And I know they're going to have a lot of stuff similar to yours as well, because when we pushed out your info and when you pushed out your info, they were inundated.
Yep.
So if it's taking longer, I guess it's our fault.
A lot of people in the industry were shocked. They're like, wait, you gave away what you did? I'm like, so
we'll do that if I get mine. We may do it slightly differently and kind of maybe give our members a little preview first.
Of course. So they can get their submitted first.
Yeah, get their submitted first. So fingers crossed on that. I like yours. Mine's very limited in space. So there's it's just a specific park. I think we talked about that last time. So that back to the tasking group. That is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really important that this one really push out hard. Because it's the BV loss just so important to a lot of people, a lot of industries, a lot of verticals.
I just want to get EV loss done first.
Yeah, EV loss first and foremost, which is part of the BV loss arc. So hopefully we can push that out pretty hard and get that, push out our recommendations. I don't want to make it sound like we're the ones making the decisions. Yes, BV loss right now, yesterday. We have to, it's just recommendations. We are not a regulatory body. We are an advisory committee. But the FAA is really for getting this pushed out. I know when this tasking group was announced just before the meeting, a lot of people were like, oh, back to the drawing board. It's going to be another ARC. Aviation Rulemaking Committee, for those of you who don't know. And it's not. It really isn't. They made it quite clear in the meeting. Jay made it quite clear to us that this is not another bunch of people getting together and trying to figure out what to do. This is here's the ARC. Help us help you by pushing it out as well as we can, as fast as we can.
And that's a super important distinction, because
Mm-hmm.
one of our biggest concerns, a lot of ACT members, myself included, were this report is not going to delay anything, is it? And that was the primary question that we had.
Yeah, and it was
And
legitimate concern.
yeah, because you have a lot of companies who are running out of runway,
Mm-hmm.
and each delay costs money, and
Yeah.
when you run out of runway, guess what? You go under. I mean, look at Vauncy. I picked up probably around $5,000 worth of batteries for $300 because it was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of 12,000 milliamp hour 12C batteries, or 12S batteries. I'm sorry.
I'll say, wow, never heard of those.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, but it's also like, dang,
Yeah, exactly.
that is going to happen more and more unless something happens.
Yep.
So we'll work on that. First meeting's November 29th. So we'll have to push pretty hard, but we can do it. The last task group we were on with I was on with Dr. Hsu, we pushed hard. We got it done. So that was kind of fun. Getting that was the educational one, which was your suggestion. I just happened to be on the ARC on that. So that'll be fun. A lot of new members on the ARC. A lot of new members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 new members last time. Although Houston Mills is who's vice president flight ops UPS, is considered a new member because he was the acting part of his title was taken away, so he's now officially the chair instead of the acting chair. So there were 11 new members, and none of them don't need to be there. So my next statement is not meant to sound like it isn't, but you and I are it still when it comes to drone service providers. We were hoping for, the educational aspect. Community outreach was one of the ones they were trying to fill. I know David Messina applied. I know Greg Reverdio applied. And a couple others, Jay Seidel from Fullerton applied, and they didn't get it. The people that they brought in are all advanced aviation. Well, they're air mobility, that type of stuff. So I think the DOT who made the final decision, FAA submitted names, DOT made the final decision, has taken the advanced aviation name pretty seriously. I'm really hoping that there's some next time around, there'll be some more drone service folks, whether it's community like FPV Freedom Coalition, Fullerton, Pilot Institute, something like that. More people who represent the vast majority of drone pilots are on there. So in the meantime, you and I got to do the good fight. And we were told as much by somebody there who has an FAA.gov email address. So that was kind of a nice reassuring comment.
Yeah. But what's nice is we're loud. We're not afraid to speak up. Right?
Little bit.
Yeah. I mean, a lot
Not
of those folks,
unreasonably.
if you think about it, a lot of those folks on the AAC don't speak up. Yeah.
That doesn't mean they don't do anything. I don't want AAAC members to see this go, well, you're jerks calling us that. They do stuff. But yeah, you and I we use our microphones when we're there.
Oh yeah.
And so does David too, which is kind of funny since we all three sit together. It's like, oh, there's that side of the table.
Yeah.
And Kathy and others.
Yep.
But it's not needless.
Even with advanced air mobility and urban air mobility, it's important to have the voice of the drone service providers, because
exactly
we're going to be sharing the same airspace. And we have a lot of the same concerns, especially at the state and local level. So for folks out there, we're always in communication with the folks from some of the big AAM companies. We're always in touch with some of the other delivery companies as well. So there's a lot of back channeling going on and discussions about, especially on the state and local regulations that come up, because we align 100% on many of those issues. Yeah.
It's not us versus them.
No,
it's an us versus them. Is not the AAAC folks. It's not the UAS community. It's those outside the UAS community. So, it's all very cooperative.
Like Edgewater.
One more thing about the DAC. Okay, I'm
Okay.
sorry, AAAC.
Yeah.
At the new business, I did clear this through Jay first, so it wasn't out of left field. But I talked about, is it possible to shrink the TFRs, VIP TFRs, the like the stadium TFRs is whatever, note them, but still everybody calls it stadium TFR, to a reasonable level. From 3 miles for the stadium down to 1 for UAS. We'll keep 3 for manned. The VIP's 35 miles, which totally hoses the drone community.
That makes sense for traditional aircraft.
Absolutely.
But for drones, that's a little bit excessive.
It is huge. And let's say for VIP we make it 5 miles. Okay, I still think that's too big, but I think that's a good place to start. Yeah. And Jay's comment. Oh, go ahead.
Or even make the process easier and more transparent. So if somebody's got a job, they can do it.
Oh, you mean the waiver process?
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue with that is whoever, like in this case, in my case, is the Colorado Rockies, have the final say.
Yeah.
And they're just flat out saying no.
Yeah. And that's the problem. Is there's a subjective element to it where it's like the proponent has to sign off on it, and there's variability if somebody's being a jerk off, like unfortunately some folks have been to you. That's a problem. Some folks are great to work with, and I think that that sort of variability in the approach is wrong. I mean, you should have a uniform process and you qualify,
right?
Then yeah, you should be able to do it instead of being up to the whim of some person who probably has no clue.
Right. And to be fair, it's not, the Colorado Rockies aren't just doing it to me. They're doing it to everybody. Because I know a number of people who have asked just the other side of downtown to fly a dusk shot during a home game. And they're like, nope. Okay, whatever.
Do you know the owner? Do you know the owner of the franchise?
No. I know the security guy.
Somebody in our community has to know.
I know of him.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know the owner. I just know the marketing.
That'd be awesome. Cut top down, man. You're gonna let it happen.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of pull. I don't think I want that kind of pull. Oh, but so I brought that up. And then I was having a conversation with, and I cannot remember the life of me who it was. So because I got thrown mentally. Somebody came up to me, and I don't know if it was a new member, if it was a current member, if it was just somebody there kibitzing the AAAC meeting. But they came up to me, and the first words out of their mouth were, "I'm a lot younger than you." It's like, yeah, you are. I don't know where this is going, but okay. And he goes, "Drones in the TFR." I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Not in my lifetime." And then walked away. And I didn't want to be rude and finish my other conversation, or just walk out of my other conversation. By the time I finished that conversation, I went out to look for him. I have no idea who it was. And so I'm really hoping it's not one of the new people on the AAAC, because that's a very toxic attitude to bring to the room. And it literally threw me. I thought he was joking at first. I laughed. It's like, oh yeah, they're already there. And he was dead serious. So hopefully we'll figure out who that was and open a dialogue, because that cannot happen at the AAAC. It just cannot. Everybody's there to work together, not to work against each other.
Yep.
So, and we're not talking about letting drones in the TFRs. We're talking about shrinking it. And we're not talking about the exclusion zone, DC freeze. Although I'd like to see that a little more relaxed as well. So
you can do it. There's a process.
You can do it.
There's a process that's online. You can find it. It's just
you can. There's, if you're in the inner circle, it's very difficult though, and you have to have police presence with you. So there's
a sponsor, an agency sponsor as well.
Agency sponsor.
Yep.
So we'll see on that. So AAAC, anything else on that?
Nope.
Okay. You brought up Edgewater.
I did.
Which is awesome. Thank you. Back in 2016, oh, wait a minute. We got one more thing to talk about AAAC. Jay's comments when I said, let's shrink the TFR.
Yeah, sure. What?
So 2209.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Edgewater. 2209, which was part of the 2016 FAA extension, I believe.
Yep.
Congress gave the FAA 180 days from 2016. A tad late. on that.
Right.
Only by a lot. To set up a system to where individual or companies and facilities can then become defined as FAA defined critical infrastructure, so they can have UAS. The wording is establish a process that allows applicants to petition the administrator of the FAA to prohibit or restrict the operation of unmanned aircraft close in proximity to fixed facility sites. So the reason Jay brought that up when I brought up the shrinking the TFRs is because he said there is an NPRM, so notice of proposed rulemaking process, coming out either this year or Q1 next year. He was a little hesitant on a date, which totally understandable on that. Mm-hmm. And when that comes out, you and I will push it, obviously, and we'll get our partners to push it as well. That's where we can address the issue of having those TFRs shrunk. Mm-hmm. So it is not a AAAC subject matter. It's not under our charter, apparently, but we can go ahead and make it important enough to try and get these things shrunk down in the NPRM for 2209. Yep. Cool. Okay, so now we can move on to Edgewater.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to start this.
I've never seen you so unhappy.
We can use the word
annoyed,
pissed. Livid,
peeved,
pissed.
Yes.
Pissed. Oh, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, you know who I am? I'm Vic Ma.
No, I did not say that. I hate it when people do that. Edgewater, Colorado is a very small little town near me. Actually, it borders part of Lakewood, where I live, and I used to live right across the street from Edgewater. It's a great little town. Best frickin' pizza at Edgewater Inn, and no, they're not a sponsor. In Edgewater, fun little place. Good pizza. But they started a process of putting a drone regulation together. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to do things like prohibit flights over basically the entire town that they run or own, sidewalks, parks, bridle trails, which I didn't know there was a bridle trail in Edgewater, city streets, sidewalks, like I said. And another part of it was you cannot fly over somebody's property without permission. So I went in and I wrote him a nice email. This is who I am. This is what I do. Let's work together. And I gave them both UAS help at FAA.gov, which should be on everybody's email list when they have a question. And also our, what is it? Our assistant legal counsel, whatever it's called in Renton, Washington, the FAA regional counsel. Gave them a phone number to call and say, look, these are the people you need contact. And their attorney did not. They do not have a city attorney. This is a gentleman that is a private practice, so he's paid by the hour to come and represent the city. So there were 7 of us drone pilots there at the city council meeting on the 1st, talk about what you can do and what you cannot do, and offer our help, because I'm a cooperative guy. You know, I'm a nice guy. I like working with people instead of against people. Well, this attorney, who shall remain nameless, got up, not even got up because he was sitting there. He said, before we get started, he had some words. And part of those words were, he accused us of being ignorant or deliberately misleading the council, because his gotcha moment was he pulled out the 2015 UAS, the FAA fact sheet on what cities and states, localities can do when it comes to controlling the airspace. Something you and I are intimately familiar with. Mm-hmm. Most drone pilots are intimately familiar with. And he proceeded to read the portion that says, there's a little portion that says consultation is recommended under. Well, he misinterpreted that worse than anybody I've ever seen misinterpret that, saying, well, this section gives us permission to do what we're going to do. And I was already prepared to have this nice little speech, blah, blah, blah. This is me. Let's help. Let's work together. I got 6 other guys behind me. Let's work together. Get this happen. I didn't get to that part of my speech when I got up there, because 3 different times, if I remember correctly, he called us ignorant or deliberately misleading and used this little gotcha 2015 fact sheet as the accusatory document.
To stand in front of you and not recognize that the FAA itself has given this guidance to local municipalities is, as I said before, either to demonstrate a very high degree of ignorance of the topic or to attempt to mislead you.
And so I was not happy at all. I listened to it again because it is online, and I will put a link in the bottom, the description below. I thought my voice was shaking. Because it sounded like to me my voice was shaking, but apparently it wasn't when I listened to the meeting again once they put it online. But yeah, I was pissed.
My name is Vic Moss. I'm not a resident of Edgewater, a resident of Lakewood. Do not appreciate city attorney's accusations of being ignorant or misleading.
When I got home that night, I was going to write an email to city council, include their legal counsel in it, just to kind of vent. My wife, being the gracious person she is, said, you should probably wait. So I did. So the next day, though, I did send an email out and just basically diplomatically ripped him a new one. Is that a nice way to say that? I sent them to you.
You did. It was long.
It was very long.
It's a wall of text.
It is. But again, I reiterated our help. We have a couple people here in Denver that do this kind of thing, myself and Joe Morales, who are both drone pros. And I reiterated again, and that was the 2nd. Today's the 9th. Crickets. Absolute crickets. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. But the fact that he used a 2015 FAA fact sheet is problematic. First of all, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Didn't know what he was talking about. I even said a curse word in my thing, which is not normal for me. And if you read the transcript, it's actually blacked out. I just said damn. But that's an issue, and it's an issue we've addressed. We've even talked about it on the newscast here. We need to do something about that. What's happening with that?
So what's happening on that? The FAA General Counsel's office, as well as DOT Counsel, is very aware that there needs to be an update. Having spoken with them, they realize, especially when we start to give them information about what's been going on. For example, in Edgewater, there's lots of other municipalities that have been doing this. You take a look at the ULC letter that the FAA sent that said, you can't be doing this. It was very strongly worded. They know that there's a problem. So,
and the ULC is?
Uniform Law Commission. They generate summaries of law.
Right.
In essence. They're not supposed to create sort of law, but it's fairly interesting the way they interpreted some of the aerial trespass, property rights ownership, but that's really beside the point. They had their hands smacked pretty hard by the FAA. So they backed off on that. But back to the original question, FAA and DOT realize this is an issue. I'm going to be flying out to DC in December to be chatting with a DOT counsel, along with some other folks who in the industry as well. So hopefully we'll have an update, but if not, we'll just be having a good conversation with them saying, hey, this is also what's going on. So I will definitely bring up the Edgewater piece as a demonstration of what's going on.
Good. Yep. And that's one of the things we do with the funds we raise at DSPA, where DSPA is paying your way out there. So so if you want to become a member, links are below. But let's see, what else we're going to talk about real quick. We talked about 2209, we talked about AAAC, TG. We're going to talk about now the Oregon Island National Wildlife Reserve. Refuge. I can't even read my own writing. That's sad. What they did the GIS map. So take it away.
Yeah. So what originally happened, there's this pilot named Danny who's local to Oregon, and he wanted to do the right thing. So he was checking out the GIS maps and also Aloft and some other resources as well. And on one of the resources, he saw the entire coast of Oregon as wilderness, which was like, wait a second. And he sent a note to the folks over at U.S. Fish and Wildlife asking what's going on. And they returned, check out this GIS layer. And it made the entire coast of Oregon a wilderness with a capital W, which means you cannot take motorized equipment according to this GIS layer anywhere on the Oregon coast, which means drones and also boats, commercial fishing. So they stepped in a big time, because prior to this GIS change, it was very defined around specific islands off the Oregon coast.
As it should be.
Yeah, yeah. And those are protected areas, and it was very limited. So in essence, what they did was take what was ostensibly around 600 acres and turned it into over 800,000 acres of wilderness. It's like, wait a second, you can't do that.
Right.
So based upon that, I sent a number of emails out saying, hey, this is a problem, and got the Department of Interior involved, and then also sent a note to the aviation division or aviation side of U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So I'm discussing it with them to say, hey, you can't be doing this. And the other piece too is I sent a note to the Office of Inspector General as a complaint saying, hey, this is what a biologist did on her own, just requesting that this GIS change happen. And I said, look, even if it's only around the islands, this change to the GIS layer that's put out by U.S. Fish and Wildlife affects a lot of the resources that folks rely on. For example, Aloft gets that data from there. And I had a conversation with John Hagrains and said, John, you can't be publishing this. This is wrong. The entire coast of Oregon is not a wilderness. Drones are not. The other piece too was the wildlife biologist said that all aircraft are expected to fly at least 2,000 feet above, or advised to fly 2,000 feet above wilderness. And that includes drones. And I'm like, wait.
That's an effective ban.
Yeah, that's an effective ban.
That's what got Newton, Massachusetts in trouble.
Yeah. And then I also had a conversation with the folks over at Hogan Lovells and said, they were great. Matt Clark's a good friend of mine. He's like, you know what? When he talked to the environmental folks at the FAA, they said, unless it's charted, don't worry about it. But
that's the FAA though.
Yeah, that's
Oregon Wildlife could still pop you for it, right?
No, U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Well, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you could still get hassled for it.
Could get hassled for it. It's erroneous information. People might be scared off from flying out there just because there's erroneous information out there. And I told them it could cause other issues as well, especially with the boaters. And if I get this out to the boaters and they see this, they're going to flip. The fishermen are going to flip. So it's a bigger problem than just for us.
Right.
And it's also, I think it overreach of this agency. And I've actually looked up some of the laws regarding it that Congress passed, and they've clearly exceeded their authority on what is that Oregon Islands wilderness.
Wow. Well, that's, it's not just there. I mean, that's probably the worst example I can think of, or I've heard of. But both Aloft, which actually is now air control, and Before You Fly have opened up layers to where you can add different municipalities, different political subdivisions can add their own restrictions, which is nice to be able to have those local restrictions, but nobody is vetting it. Case in point, Oregon. Case in point here, Jefferson County Open Space has a law that says you can't fly over, which we talked about last time, and they've said, oh yeah, well, we really can't do that. So, but they haven't changed it yet. It has not been taken off of before you fly. It has not been taken off of air control. There needs to be a vetting process. The FAA just can't open these platforms up to whoever wants to add whatever they want to make up airspace restrictions. So I think it's awesome that they're doing that. I think it's awesome to where there's going to be an app where people can fly, or where they're getting ready to fly and say, oh, I can't fly here. Jefferson County Open Space, I can't fly from there, which is perfectly legitimate concern. A rule, but the over part, they need to vet better. There needs to be a vetting process before stuff just gets thrown up on the apps. We brought this up. Where will it go? We don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? If there's clear error, just send a note off to air control /aloft. They're really good about it.
Okay.
John's very receptive to it.
Cool.
I had a conversation with a couple of weeks ago. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do that then, because we do have a recording of a Jefferson County Open Space Ranger saying, yeah, we can't really do that. So coolio. Gosh, I think that's it for now.
Is it?
I thought
we had more stuff to talk about.
We talked about the NPRM. We talked about Jay's comments, Oregon Island National Wildlife Reserve. A little bit we talked about Aloft, air control, DOT meeting, task groups, 2209s, NPRM. I think we got it.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. But we're gonna have more coming up. It's still a little slow, although today is election day, so we'll see how that all rolls out. And we can see what we can do about maybe reigniting, getting the Drone Pilot Safety Act going with our friend Mr. Ruprecht. And see where it goes, because we need to get that added to the 2023 FAA Reauthorization Act.
Yeah.
Something like it.
Yep.
So we get federal protection like we talked about last time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the other piece that I almost forgot is on the remote ID side. So with the most recent updates, firmware updates to some of the platforms on DJI, remote ID is actually active.
It is active. I haven't found any apps yet that work. I tried.
I'll send you one as soon as
cool.
the front end is done.
That's great. One issue though that came up today, I was talking to somebody online about this, and I had a little burp this morning when I was flying. Supposedly, with where we're both flying Mavic 3s, he could not fly because his controller did not have Wi-Fi and he could not connect to get permission. So I think there's a bug in there somewhere. And I fly with the RC Pro, so it does not have, unless I hook up my phone to hotspot as hotspot. I don't know why the update would not allow somebody to take off if they're not connected to a network. It says something about couldn't determine location. So there's an issue there that we need to address, that we need to be careful of. I did have a little burp that popped up.
The reason why it's not connected to a network, I think it's the GPS location, the ground control station location. So that's why it works off the GPS off the phone.
Yeah, but it shouldn't on a Mavic 3.
Mavic 3 has a GPS in the
my RC Pro. I mean, my RC Pro is fine. Although, wait a minute, does it have GPS module on the RC Pro?
I don't know.
I have to check on that, because I've gotten a burp, a little red remote ID error pops up and then it goes away like 2 seconds later. So there's that issue. So something to be aware of. If you're out flying and you've updated your Mavic 3 or your Vada, your Mini 3, and I think some of the enterprise stuff is now active.
Yeah. Although some of the features in the Mini 3 that they had in the firmware update are pretty neat.
Yeah.
So,
and it did. The update did help my Mavic 3 fly better.
Did it?
It's not just me.
It is you. Come on.
No, it is not.
Your flying just sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's not as good as yours.
And you got your Avada is you got the controller linked and all.
I got
that
the
stuff.
controller done now, so that's kind of fun.
Did
it's
you have
so-
you
it's so
flown
fun.
manual yet?
I haven't yet because I haven't had time.
Oh.
Either I'm working or I've got 40-mile-an-hour winds, and I really don't want to try to learn how to fly the Avada in manual mode in 40-mile-an-hour winds. I like to have my drone land within 3 or 4 miles of where it takes off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I gotta
we
say,
had
you know-
nasty winds.
Yeah. You know, the Avada can do flips and all, but
Oh, I know.
the footage is sort of janky.
No,
when
no,
you
no.
do
See,
that.
I didn't buy it for that. I don't want to do flips. I want to learn how to fly it manually.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Like we talked about last time, just put my big boy panties on and fly.
Yeah. Just do it. Yeah.
My goal by the 2027 is I will fly manually.
Yeah.
I think we can end it there. What do you think?
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So this is Vic.
This is Kenji.
That's Kenji over there.
Bye. No, bye.
Yeah, bye. And everybody have fun. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And I'll have the links below to do to what we've talked about, including the gentleman at the Edgewater City Council meeting on November
Your
1st,
voice is making me sleepy.
2023. Yeah. All right, everybody fly safe, fly happy, and
See you
have
next
fun.
time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.